Yes, the title is correct, but I'm going to be doing this in a weird way. I'm starting with a pistol for the first two maps, because I know them the most. I'll obtain the wonder weapon special for the map by any cost and judge the maps based on the weapon, time it took, and the visuals of the map. First, we have D Machine, and I actually really like this map because this is the map I played a ton when Cold War was at its peak. I'll say this map made me have really high hopes for Cold War. Basically, to start off and get the wonder weapon for D Machine, you need to turn on the power, right? The power is the biggest thing on this map. If you don't do the power, you really just can't do anything. The color contrast of D Machine is incredible. I personally absolutely love it. The red when the power turns on, the bright colors of green mixed with the concrete building of what is Nocturne is really nice on the eyes. I also like how this map has a good mixture of light and dark. I know basically all Cold War maps have the flashlight used in some way, but this map I believe does it best. The dark ether is introduced in this map, and I like that Cold War understood what it looked like for them and didn't make everything fucking purple like they do now with the newer maps. Besides Black Ops 7 maps are actually pretty good. Once you enter the dark ether, you're going to follow the path you need to take to grab the Pack-a-Punch machine part. Then once you have that, you're going to run back to the Pack-a-Punch machine, put the part back in the machine, just like I do now, and don't bother looking at that epic fail. And then it'll teleport you back into the regular world. Just like this. But now you're going to have to wait for the Megaton to spawn in. Because once you spawn in and you have the Megaton, you'll have to kill it. But I did something a little different, right? You guys remember the dancing coffin meme? Don't mind, I missed all those shots. I actually ended up hitting it anyways. The dancing coffin meme, that was in this map. And I decided to do it just to get myself a little bit of loot. A little bit of goop. Just get that done. Get myself some loot. And, I mean, look at these fellas. Look at them. I even speed it up for you here in a second. Watch. Look at this. Oh, yeah. Dude, this was hilarious back in the day. This was absolutely hilarious. We loved this. And I loved it too. You know, free loot. Basically get a free perk, free gun, shit ton of salvage and stuff. And, you know, I ended up getting some pretty good stuff. Look at this. I get a Gallo, which is really nice for me since I started with a pistol, a purple Gallo and Jug. That is like the ultimate setup here. Anyways, back to the wonder weapon. We have to kill the Megaton. And I mean, just look at him. He's giant. He's a huge dude. He spawns on round 8, and you have to kill the splits. When you kill the splits, it'll drop a key card. This key card right here that you're seeing. With that key card, you're going to run back down to the Deadshot Daiquiri area and insert it into this weapons-like drawer, and you'll get the remote controller, DIE remote. With this said remote, you're going to head over back to where I was fighting the Megaton and look for a hole in this room and activate the remote. Then it'll start sucking. And I'm not joking, it will literally start sucking. I mean, it's sucking the zombies right now. Same thing will happen again. You got to go over, hit the remote, and it'll explode the door, and you can go in that room and pick up the DIE machine. Here's gameplay of me killing with it. I used both sides of it, and yeah. Now we're on Firebase C. My favorite out of all the Cold War maps. I don't really know why it's my favorite. I just picked it as my favorite. And also it has the Ray K, which is basically the Ray Gun Mark III with auto fire mode. Once you get enough points to get to the actual map, you'll have to turn on the power in order to start the wonder weapon thing. And as you can see here, it doesn't really matter what order you do it in. It really doesn't. So, you go however you want. Ether reactors are pretty easy. They're really nice, calm. I really just use my knife for this just so I can open up everything else on the map. While we're here, I just like to say I enjoy Firebase C. I thought the ether stations for power was a really unique idea, and I like that there's 2 playable areas on this map. I also really like the use of fire and the kind of warm colors like orange on this map. I feel like you really understand where the fire and Firebase came from. Since I didn't get to go over what the DIE really did, I'll explain to you what the Ray K does. As its base mode, it's like a slow fire rate assault rifle, but it deals ray gun damage for each shot. I don't believe it has splash damage, so you really can't kill yourself with it. The second firing mode, which you'd press up on the D-pad for on Xbox and PlayStation. I don't know what the button is on PC or any other things you'd be playing Cold War on. I don't really understand or know. Is basically the alternative firing mode for what the Ray Gun Mark III was on Garage Curvy back on Black Ops 3. It's kind of like some ether like circle thing. It sucks the zombies in. I don't think I tried to shoot it and see if it did anything different. I don't think you can on this, but you used to be able to do that with the Ray Gun Mark III. Anyways, once you've completed all the power things, all the ether stations, you're going to want to come where I go and pick up the Ray K's blueprint. Once you've went and got the blueprint, run over to the top left of the map, and you're going to have to grab this guy's eyeball. I'm not sure I can show you this on wherever I post this on, so I'm just going to be careful and not show you. But you'll know where it is. He's like kind of led next to like a tank, and you just dig it out. When you have the eye, you'll come back to the blueprint place and scan the retina on the computer. I'll show you where to go, just so you're not confused with the map's layout. I'm sure you're not, since Cold War's been out for a couple years. But you'll scan the retina on the computer. You'll wait a couple seconds like I do here. It'll turn green, and you will get a locker key out of it. With that key, you'll start opening lockers in the barracks. They'll spawn some mimics. You'll have to kill the mimics for another part of the gun. This can take a couple mimics, as it took me killing 3 just to get it. However, I did pick up some critical intel on the way, and here is me killing the mimic, dropping the part. I don't know if it's like a barrel or like a stabilizer or something. Now you'll have to wait for a mangler to spawn in. And I'm going to be completely honest, I did not feel like waiting until round 15 or whenever the mangler spawns in. So I started doing trials to get it. But if you still want to build it, I'll tell you how. When the mangler spawns in, you'll shoot its cannon on and pick up the piece. That piece being a power cell. You'll bring it back to the computer blueprint place, and there's a machine next to a nuke on a table. You put it there for a full round and then pick it up. In that same room where you place the power cell, the computer will be interactable. It'll show you some lines and it will pause on 3 of them. This is connected to the dartboard back in spawn room, and it will be 3 places you have to shoot on the dartboard. When you shoot these on the dartboard and then you shoot the bullseye, it'll open up and give you a power converter, just like I show you right here. As you can see, it opens up like a little tiny vault and it gives you a power converter. Also, it is round 15. I got an assault wave and there still was no mangler to be spawned in, so me doing the trials to get the Ray K was actually useful. Anyways, once you've gotten that, the power converter, head back to the blueprint place where the computer is, go to where you grab the blueprint at, and then you can build the Ray K. Obviously, I can't show you me building the Ray K because I didn't. I got it from a trial because I'm too stingy and stubborn. And yeah, now you should have the Ray K. Honestly, this took me a lot longer than I expected. Firebase C is probably going to be in like 40% of the video, but the Ray K takes a long time to get, and I think it's worth it. As you can see, its alternate firing mode's pretty good. It's also really, really good when it's pack-a-punched. It works really well. I think it's really great for mobbing. You can just take out a ton of zombies like in like seconds with this thing. I think it's really worth it. Also, I tried to do Malware Totem, but it kept breaking on me a ton of times. Here, I'll show you in a second of what it was doing to me. I tried to play it about like 4 or 5 times, and it just kept doing this to me right here. I would try to stab a zombie right when a train comes by, right when you need to go past it to get to the robot, forget his name, and it would just freeze. This isn't me pausing it or anything. It is literally frozen. I couldn't play it at all, so I'm sorry, but you're not getting Malware Totem. Now we're on to Forsaken. I didn't play this a lot when it came out, but I do remember it having major crashing issues on release. Thankfully, unlike Malware Totem, I didn't crash or freeze, and I got to get the Wonder Weapon. Anyways, to start, you'll want to enter the facility and turn power on. I assume you know what you're doing at this point and can follow the guide the game gives you, so I trust you to that extent. Once you turn the power on, follow exactly where I go to press a red button. This button will trigger a cutscene, and once you're done, you'll head over to a donut shop across the map. You'll want to be here because once 2 rounds pass by, an asteroid will come and hit the building, just like this. And in the building, there will be an orange little asteroid in there. When you're done, you pick up the rock, then I kid you not, you'll have to use a flamethrower on one of the red zombies that straight up kamikaze you. For some reason, nothing else works for me besides a flamethrower, but in the meantime, you'll have to make an abomination use its beam on a crystal lying around. Apparently, I just don't have the footage of me killing the termite or explosion zombie, but you kill it with a flamethrower, get the part, and head down to where the power place kinda is, and there will be a tub. Place the parts in the tub and get some melee kills with the zombies. Once you get the melee kills, it'll come back up like this, out of the water, and boom, you have the wonder weapon on Forsaken. In my opinion, I think Forsaken was the worst out of the maps, but it had the coolest wonder weapon. I really like it. It can be an axe and an SMG. Forsaken was kind of basic, but I really liked the watchtower and that being where power and pack was. I also really liked how Forsaken was inside a facility and it kind of started like Moon. I didn't like that there was a lot of purple and blue. It kind of seemed overused at this point in terms of the maps besides Mallard or Toten. But this concludes me playing, and we'll get into some rankings. Now, here are my personal rankings based on the criteria. Mallard or Toten honestly gets an S tier, mainly from its atmosphere and aesthetics, regardless of wonder weapon. I didn't get to show off this map's wonder weapon, but it is incredible. I also think that going from rooftop to rooftop is a fun idea, as well as the Disciples being a pretty scary mini-boss. Firebase E is my favorite Cold War map. And again, I really like the idea of how power is set up, and I really like the raid cave because it's basically the Ray Gun Mark III. I dropped it below Malware because the quest of getting the wonder weapon is extremely tedious, and it takes a lot of time. D Machine, I think it's iconic. They bring back the jet gun, but make it more than just awful, right? But they also bring back Nocturne Toten. I believe heavily that this is the most known map out of the 4, and the Megatons are the most iconic boss from this game. And they were used multiple times down the line of the other zombie games. Forsaken is the lowest on the list at a B tier. It's a good map, it's not too big, it's not too small. It has its own unique twist on a wonder weapon and starting room. But it's this low because I think it's just kind of forgettable. Especially the color gradient of the map. It kind of looks like the newer maps where they decided to lean heavy into the dark ether stuff and make a lot of things purple and blue. And I just want to say thank you to anyone that watched the video and made it this far and actually went through this. I know the video is kind of meh. I understand. I know like me writing the script down and talking over the video is kind of mediocre. I'm still getting used to it. I'm not very great at it. I'm only going to grow with time. So I really appreciate anyone who made it this far. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.